What's going on, people in YouTube land? KimchiChris here, and welcome to today's brand new video where we're gonna argue, where we are gonna get mad at each other, where we are going to say some things we would never say to people in real life because we have the anonymity of YouTube and the internet helping us out here. That's right, we're talking about the 2020 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nominees list. Now, what's important to remember here is this is the list of nominees for this fine institution we know as the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, aka the biggest joke in the music industry. And that doesn't mean that any of these artists will get in. It doesn't mean any of these artists won't get in. But these are the groups, the musicians, the bands, the singers, the songwriters, the jokes in some cases that they are considering putting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020. And we'll get the list of who makes it, you know, some point later on. I don't know. I made a video about the last group of artists they actually did induct, and oh boy did some of you get mad about that video. So I thought it would be cool to talk about the nominees this time, and that way we can get a video here where we argue, and down the road when they actually induct some of these bands, we can get another video where we argue. Now you gotta remember, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, again, is a joke, and we know that going into it, and we know that it's just kind of pathetic to really be too concerned about it. Now, we also know if we were in one of these bands that got inducted, we would be really excited to get in. It would be an amazing night, and it would be a career highlight. But as the normal people that we are, and most of us that are watching this video do fall into that category, we like to argue about it and talk about how awful it is, and it really is. They've left out so many important bands through the years that really do deserve to be in there if this is a true Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And really over the years, it's turned into more of like a music Hall of Fame, a pop music Hall of Fame, if you will, because a lot of people forget pop stands for popular music, not necessarily just music on the radio, but music that's, you know, popular in the overall zeitgeist of music in America, at least, because they completely ignore artists that have had no impact over here, because you'll never see X Japan on that ballot, for example. Never see X Japan on the ballot. If you're familiar with X Japan at all, you realize how ridiculous this is, but they'll never be on there, and you'll never see X on there as well, the American band that goes by that name. But that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the nominees for 2020, so let's just jump into this list right here on my phone. I'm sure it's going to be great. I'm sure they've made some wise decisions, and let's just dive into it. So we're just going to go in the order they are here on this website that I found. So first up, we have Pat Benatar. Now, I'm okay with that. I'm okay if she makes it. I'm okay if she doesn't make it. I'm more of a hits kind of guy with Pat Benatar. I know the hits. I have a greatest hits CD from her, and I don't know much else, but you know what? We don't have enough strong female role models in the Hall of Fame, so let's have her in there. And she is an actual legit rock and roll musician, even if she did go on to make pop music down the line. So let's let her in there. Let's have Pat Benatar in the Hall of Fame. Next up on the list, we have Dave Matthews Band. Oh boy. Moving on, next up we have Depeche Mode, and you know, they're a band, personally, I'm not a huge fan of, but I don't dislike them. I don't know enough about them to form a huge opinion, kind of similar to Pat Benatar, except I'm even more unfamiliar with them. I know that they've had a huge impact on music, and I know they have some very dedicated fans, so you know what, if they got in, it'd be cool. Won't make me mad, won't make me sad if they don't get it, but you know what, they deserve to be in there if some of these other acts are in there, so why not? Next up on the list, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but we have the Doobie Brothers, another band I don't know a huge amount about. I know a lot of really, I don't know what's the word I want to use here, disconnected older people really do like them, so they stand a decent chance of getting in there, but I don't know, if they get in there, just like these others, it doesn't really matter to me one way or the other. I don't have an opinion on them. The opinions are coming. Well, we've already seen one opinion, but there's more opinions coming. And next up on the list, we have Whitney Houston. And, you know, Whitney's done a lot. Again, I couldn't say that I'm a huge fan of her, and I can't say I'm a hater of her either. And with some of the other artists that are in there, I feel she really does deserve a spot, more than likely. Again, she doesn't really fall into the rock and roll category, but she definitely falls into it more than something like Dave Matthews Band, so she's got a leg up on them, I would say for sure. So, you know, whatever happens with Whitney, happens with Whitney. That's cool. Next up is a band I definitely have an opinion on, though, Judas Priest. Yes, Judas Priest, they deserve to be in there. What else can be said about it? This band deserved to be in there years ago. They've been eligible for a really long time. This is their second year being nominated, so as a result, they might actually get it this year. And just like some other bands like Black Sabbath and what have you, they are some of the innovators of the current version of what we call heavy metal. and they're great to that genre. They're great for rock and roll, and they're good all around. Just, you know, they've influenced a ton of bands. They've had a huge amount of hits. They're still a hugely successful band, and they deserve to be in there. Let Judas Priest into the Hall of Fame. If you're, you know, don't put some of these other bands in there, you might as well put one in there that, you know, actually deserves to be there. So all around, good pick, good pick. Let's hope Judas Priest makes it. Next up, we have Kraftwerk. That's another band similar to kind of like some of the others I said, like Doobie Brothers and Whitney Houston. I'm not hugely overall familiar with them, but I do know they deserve to be in there because they are an innovator when it comes to electronica music, goth music, dance music, all that stuff. So put Kraftwerk in there. Just let their stupid fans stop, you know, being mad that they're not in there, and then once they get in there, let their stupid fans be mad they are in there. We know their fans are all ridiculous, critical music snobs for the most part, so just get Kraftwerk in there, get it out of the way, and let's move on with our lives. And next up we have MC5, and if this really, really was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they would have been in there a long time ago. This is an innovator in punk rock, in rock and roll, in noise music, in high energy rock and roll live shows. This band needs to be in there. It's stupid that MC5 is not in there. Again, if this was the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but it's more the Popular Music Zeitgeist Hall of Fame. So I get why they're not there, but they do deserve to be there if this place holds up to its name anymore. And the following band falls in that category as well. Motorhead. The mighty Motorhead is not in what's considered the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just a travesty, just like the whole Hall of Fame is, but they need to be in there. Motorhead need to be in there. You know, they stand a decent chance, having, you know, influenced so many bands, and they've had such an impact on music. You cannot go to a rock or metal show without seeing a Motorhead shirt or tattoo or something with Lemmy's face on it. So it's just silly that they're not there, but I don't know. I could see them not making it because they aren't the critical darlings that it seems you need to be to get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So we'll see. Next up, 9 Inch Nails. A band that many people will say does not deserve to be in there, but I say do deserve to be in there. 9 Inch Nails, while not my favorite band ever, is a really influential band that really, you know, was the face of industrial, goth, alternative, whatever you want to call it, rock in the late 80s leading into most of the 90s, okay? And they really inspired a lot of bands, a whole lot of bands. That angry music that wasn't really grunge and kind of turned into, unfortunately, you know, rap rock and everything in between. A lot of that music was influenced by 9 Inch Nails, and, you know, they're still out there pumping out the hits and doing tours and things like that. They aren't as active as they used to be. Well, I guess they is kind of a weird term. Trent isn't as active as he used to be, but I think 9 Inch Nails deserves to be in there. Plus, I could see it being really funny if they were inducted. I would love to see that audience having to witness a performance of Closer on stage. That would be a very interesting moment in pop culture there. So I think 9 Inch Nails should get in there. It should be a no-brainer, but I don't know that they will. I think this is maybe their second year being on the ballot. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And after them, you have one of the acts that's going to be the most controversial on the list, especially with my opinion I'm about to say, but that is the notorious B.I.G. And it seems like every year now they're inducting at least one rapper. They just are. They're inducting one rapper or one rap act as something along those lines, and really, he's the only one up this year that falls in that category, and if they're going to keep that tradition up, you might as well put him in. He's an amazing, amazing hip-hop artist. A lot of people disagree, say he doesn't belong in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because he's not a rock and roller, and that's 100% true, but they threw rock and roll out the door a long time ago again, and this is just music in general, and if you're gonna just have music in general, yeah, he needs to be in there. If you got NWA, if you got Public Enemy, are they in there? I don't know if they're in there, but if you have some hip-hop acts, I know NWA's in there, you're gonna have to have some more of them, and you might as well have the B.I.G. because a lot of these artists are in there because of their influence, and he has influenced a lot. He's influenced a lot of rock and roll musicians, I would say, as well, so I don't think it's just hip-hop. He's probably influenced a little bit of everyone with his lyrics and delivery and image and everything else, so you know what? Throw him in there. It's a good move to put him in there. And next up, we have Rufus featuring Chaka Khan. I don't have any opinion on this, honestly. I could not tell you anything about their music. I'm sure I'd recognize some songs, and some people might say I'm an idiot right now not knowing them, but I don't know. Don't have an opinion on this one. So moving on, we have Todd Rundgren, another one that I know a couple of his songs, but I don't have an opinion. If he gets in there, cool. If he doesn't, it's whatever. But the next one I do have an opinion on, Soundgarden. That's right. I don't like grunge music, but they stand a really good chance of getting in there because Chris Cornell is dead now, and I know that sounds really, I don't know, inappropriate to say that about a dead person. And you know, I know he was an amazing singer. I know he's a good songwriter. That song he wrote for Alice Cooper, Stolen Prayer, is really cool. But I don't care for Soundgarden, but they stand a really good chance of getting in there, so, you know, more power to them, I suppose. And next up, on the other hand, we have T-Rex. We have T-Rex on the nominee list. T-Rex isn't in there. That's a band that when we've talked about these lists before, I haven't really thought about because I just assumed they were in there. And yeah, T-Rex needs to be in there. One of the most influential and most important glam rock bands of the 70s. Yeah, you better believe they should be in there if this truly is, again, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which it isn't, of course, but, you know, it's just ridiculous that we have T-Rex on the same list as Dave Matthews as a possible nomination. Dave Matthews, T-Rex, again, rock and roll. It doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. And finishing out the list, we have the band out of all of them that probably deserved it the most, I would say. And that is Thin Lizzy. That's right, Thin Lizzy needs to be in there. It's ridiculous that they're not in there. They're another one like T-Rex that I would have just assumed they were there, but they're not there. And talk about an influential rock and roll band from the 70s that's just right up there with all the greats and somehow isn't in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's just ridiculous. They need to get them in there. They deserve it probably more than anyone on this list. And, you know, will they get it? Who knows? But they probably deserve it the most. So I can't really say much else about that. Get Thin Lizzy in the Hall of Fame. They should be there. So out of this list, I'm going to pick my choices of who should be in there most out of the list. So let's say there's, how many inductees every year? Is there 5? Is there 6? Is there 27? I don't know. Let's say there's 6. Let's say there's 6. I'm going to pick the 6 that should be in there. First and foremost, we got Thin Lizzy. They need to be in there. Next up, we got T-Rex. We're working in reverse here because T-Rex I already thought was in there. So we got 2 right there. Next up, I'm picking Motorhead. They deserve to be in there. They really should. We've got, you know, 3 rock and roll bands, and one of them's aggressive. The other 2 are pretty much straightforward rock and roll. I'm gonna pick up the Notorious B.I.G. Yeah, he should be in there. Hate me for it if you want, but I like hip hop, and hip hop's already in there. Throw him in there. Next up, let's pick a band that, you know, I didn't have a huge opinion on. Let's pick one of the ones because it's not going to all be winners. You know what? Let's go with Pat Benatar because we need some female representation. And let's finish the thing out with Judas Priest. Let's make it an aggressive year. Let's make it the year that metal starts to take over. That's who we need in there. Again, just to review, we have Thin Lizzy, we have T-Rex, we have Motorhead, we have the Notorious B.I.G., we have Pat Benatar, and we have Judas Priest. That is who should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020. Most likely that will not be the list, but let's see if I'm anywhere close. So I even have one of the names right when they do come out later in this year or early next year. Whenever they release the list, let's see if I had any of my choices correct at that point. It'll be interesting to see if KimchiChris's predictions were even close to spot on, because they probably won't be. But with all that being said, that's really all I have to say about these nominees. Again, I think that the institution is stupid, but these things are fun to argue about. So let's argue about it. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this list. Who do you think they've left out? Who do you think should actually make it into the Hall of Fame? Do you even care at all? If you're watching this video and you're still here at this point, you care at least a little bit. And you know, I have to admit, I care at least a little bit or I wouldn't make these videos, but I do think it's fun to see everybody scramble and argue in the comments below. So definitely leave some comments on this video. And if you're new around here, hit that subscription button and hit the alarm so you get the updates. Make sure to smash that like button as well because it really helps the channel up, helps build the momentum, and you know, if you watched all this, just help me out a little bit, just a little bit. All right. Once again, my name is KimchiChris. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys on the next video.